What should I know about Veritasium?
It was under the blood moon. I felt my heart come. I held you in this strange light, a place where shadows.
So basically, I'm looking to tie the entire world through Veritasium. Greetings, it's Reggie Middleton. The clips you're about to see are historical. The one immediately following this little introduction is from 2014, which is about a year after I came up with the concept of distributed and decentralized finance. 2014, listen carefully.
Middleton, you are building what you call a virtual Goldman Sachs on top of Bitcoin. Tell us about it.
Well, a virtual Goldman Sachs on top of the Bitcoin and protocol and network sans the extreme conflicts of interest and the excessive bonus compensation. It's sort of long. So basically, I'm building a more efficient financial system. I've created an invention. I've created this. What I've created was, or my team and I've created was a wallet that in itself allows each and every person to become their own investment bank, commercial bank, exchange, stock exchange, bond exchange, etc., and lender. Basically, through this personal wallet, you now have loans without banks, trades without exchanges, contracts without lawyers. This is phenomenal, and as you may know, this is a direct threat to the hegemony that stands as a middleman that fails to add value. It is disruption to the nth degree. What we're doing is, UltraCoin is a derivative layer to allow you to program Bitcoin. Bitcoin's value is in the protocol. Most people concentrate on the little accounts of value, otherwise Bitcoin, what they call coins, and they focus on the price, 400, 600, etc. But the value is the ability to program the coins to take the place of the New York Stock Exchange, to take the place of JP Morgan, to take the place of merchant banks, which is what we've done. We've patented the process. We've created smart contracts that end users can go in their private wallet and create on their own. You design your smart contract, you create a letter of credit, you trade over 10,000 tickers for the exposure of Google. You could short JP Morgan, you can go long the Korean won. You could do all
really
this.
hate JP Morgan, right?
Not about hate, it's business. Business is business, right?
I don't want to put them out of the door.
It's business, not personal.
The banks are going to hate you, full stop.
It all depends on how the banks look at it. Because I think we're first to market in the technology and we've patented it, if the patents are granted, which I'm very sure they will be, then the banks have to come behind us with this new technology. Fast forward to 2021, yes, patents are being granted. We have one granted in one of the most deep, diverse, and dynamic economies of the world. We are aggressively looking or pursuing and prosecuting many more. Now, let's look at the opinion of a software engineer who was recently recruited to work in the VeriDAO, which is an intellectual property distributed autonomous organization, or basically a blockchain-based organization designed to assist Veritasium in monetizing its IP. Okay, I'm not going to name the individual, but he put our situation in such eloquent terms as to I couldn't help but share. I'll let you read it in the background, and then we'll fade into where we stand right now in terms of IP with many other entities in the space, and most of these entities you've heard of. To put quite frankly, we've examined well over 120 different DeFi entities or entities using the DeFi technology. We have yet to come across an entity who I feel has not infringed upon our IP. How many knuckleheads have actually read it? I doubt very many. As significant as the Bitcoin white paper, one heck of a compliment. It does show the true value, and yes, this was done all the way back in 2014. It shows prescience. Here you see a description of an embodiment of the patent. where one party can trade from one currency into Bitcoin and into another fiat currency. And they could do so in one single transaction, basically allowing a cross-currency swap or the ability to go from one currency to another using Bitcoin as a bridge currency. This was filed in 2014 and granted, right, in at least one jurisdiction. Does this sound familiar? Let me help you out. Ripple's most dynamic, probably their most profitable product, is on-demand liquidity. What is on-demand liquidity? We don't really need to look into Ripple's documents. Take a look at our patent in the general description. Or you can look into Ripple's description as well. Ripple is probably one of the more impressive crypto companies I've seen to date. They have well over 400 banking customers and clients. At least that's what I've been led to believe. And I also believe that Ripple has injected our intellectual property, our patented intellectual property, throughout the biggest names in the banking system. The biggest, from American Express, Visa, MasterCard, to Daiwa Securities, SBI, etc. Many thanks goes out to Ripple. Now back to 2014. If you remember the internet in 1990, newspapers used to take a picture of the front page and put it on the website, and they called that innovation. Fast forward 20 years later, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, a true contemplation of the technology versus just using it. And trading Bitcoin is one thing, using is another. Three elements, basically. The first element is it eliminates the need to trust any other counterparty in the transaction. The lack of trust is like a tax or a cost on the transaction. Most of the time you do business, you have to reserve or insure against this lack of trust. So if you do a deal where you buy a house, you have to escrow funds, you have to get lawyers, you have to potentially go to court. This invention, built upon the Bitcoin protocol, eliminates that. It also allows you to do financial and value transactions without a middleman. So instead of going to an exchange where you give your assets to an exchange and exchange matches you up with someone else, you now keep your assets, your money, in your pocket, in your wallet, and you exchange directly with others through the help of a middleman that has no control over your assets. You keep the keys to your own lock. Now, tell me, does that sound familiar? Going through an exchange where you do not have to rely on a trusted middleman or third party. You keep your keys and your assets in your wallet until you're ready to exchange. Luckily, potential Veritasium partners have embedded our technology throughout vast majority of the decentralized finance and the finance space through the blockchain, as is my opinion. That is my opinion, of course, not adjudicated fact, and I'm not a lawyer. But I am grateful, so I'd like to say thank you to Bancor, Uniswap, SushiSwap, PancakeSwap, all the food swaps, and hopefully, potentially, the yield farmers and everybody else, the lenders. Thank you very much. This concept, which you see, was explained in 2014 on CNBC and Max Kaiser show, and patented in 2014, is the hottest sector of cryptocurrency and the crypto finance sector today. Thank you. Now, the issue with the business models and where Ultracoin fits in and how it profits is, or what's inventive or what's innovative about it is, I've decided to take the ability of Bitcoin and build a business from scratch. And I think what's going wrong, most people are playing with Bitcoin, the little Bitcoins, the lowercase b, the coins, and they're not actually doing business with the actual protocol, which is the enabling technology. So I've decided to take businesses and not take a legacy business and force it into a box and put Bitcoin on it. I've decided to take legacy businesses, disassemble them, and rebuild them on the Bitcoin protocol. And that is the enabling portion of it. That is what enables me to create new businesses that didn't exist before and new abilities.